Welcome to the Outer Hebrides. This is the WINFL show. I'm your host Ian McKinnon, joined by Mr. Patrick Jackson. Hello, Patrick.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm very well. And we have the esteemed pleasure to be joined by a YouTuber, FivePoints Vids. Adam, it is an absolute pleasure to have you on the WINFL show. We're on a small rock on the west coast of Scotland, and we stay up till all ungodly hours watching American football. And to have someone of yourself, I'm a big fan of your work, your channel, and thank you so much for being here.
Appreciate it, and I'm glad to be. The connection is amazing. We're like, all the way across that big body of water, and it's amazing how technology has allowed us to connect to people across the world. But I'm glad to be here.
Well, thanks very much for joining us. Now, being British, we are obsessed with the weather over here. It's just a thing that we are obsessed with. So, are you in New York itself?
No, I'm actually south of New York. I'm in Virginia. My father was from Rutherford, where the Giants play.
Right.
However, he was not a Giants fan. He was a Jets fan. And I was spared that abuse, that lifelong trauma by I simply like the Giants colors more. And I was like, okay, this team looks like they actually win games. And I did pick that correctly because even though the Giants have been awful, the Jets are somehow worse.
Oh, they are. We'll get on to that in just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But can I ask you, what is the weather currently like in Virginia?
It's really nice. It's fall weather now. The leaves are changing colors. It's about 64 degrees outside. So it's actually a little, brisk for us. But, this is nice November weather. It's sunny too. I appreciate it out there.
64 Fahrenheit in Celsius, so European money, 17.8 degrees. We are currently 9 here.
Oh,
wow. What is that in Fahrenheit? What's 9 degrees Celsius?
Probably 40 something, probably 40.
Well done, 48.2.
Yeah.
48 degrees, and it's raining, and it'll be like this until March.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Raining all the time. It is awful.
Yeah, it's beautiful out here. Honestly, this is the type of weather that I love. This sort of not too cold, not too warm. Can wear a light jacket if you want. Wear a hoodie out. Work out with the t-shirt on, and then put on the hoodie, and then go back out. So I like this type of weather for sure.
Wonderful. Now, much as we like to shoot the breeze with you about the weather all day, we do have the NFL to talk about.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got a 17-game season, which is rubbish, but 18 weeks, so week 9 done, is halfway through the season, as far as we're concerned. Let's talk about your Giants. The New York Giants, obviously, awful start with Russell Wilson at the beginning. A Broncos fan, I know what that's like. And then Jackson Dart comes in. Things are rolling. Cam Scatterboo's taking off. Everything's looking great. You have the loss to Denver, the massive upset, and then the game against the Eagles, which was just an absolute heartbreaker. Why don't you give us your thoughts on the New York Giants season so far?
There's not much. There hasn't been much to be happy about. You had Dart and Scatterboo for a total of 2 weeks. They won one game, and then their defense collapsed the following week against Denver, and then Scatterboo gets injured in a horrific way. His ankle essentially shattered. And it's been a rough season. This is out of the 4 years that Brian Daboll has been coach. This is the 3rd year that he started 2-7 through 9 weeks. It's pretty rough watching this franchise unfold. When we had Eli Manning, there weren't always great years, but we were guaranteed at least 7 to 8 wins. Just on the sheer will of his intelligence as a quarterback, and he would do some dumb things, but we were a decent team, and we haven't had a consistently competitive squad since essentially he lost his effectiveness in 2016. We don't hang around with good teams in the NFL. Even the game against the Eagles, where we upset them on a Thursday night, you can look at that as an anomaly. They came out ready, and they had a new sort of offensive look that the Eagles were kind of overwhelmed by. And other than that, one blip on the radar, they've been a terrible football team. They don't defend well. They don't stop the run, which was what we were thinking they were going to be good at. And they don't defend against the pass at all. So it's frustrating to watch this team. They're also loaded with talent, and which is even more frustrating. They have players, and they just don't execute, and they don't put it together. And there's one person or a bunch of people that is responsible for that, and their key cards still work. So it's been a frustrating 9 weeks for sure.
I mean, it has. Again, we don't want to go back to it, but the injury to Scatterbo really seemed to sort of just derail and deflate anything that you saw it with the players on the sidelines. Jackson Dart immediately just down on one knee, hand in his mouth, just thinking that this could be, I don't want to say the end of the season, but the end of like a real chance of pushing, because they did have momentum despite the loss to Denver. They did, and the tight end whose name I've forgotten,
Theo Johnson.
Theo Johnson. He looks fantastic.
He does. He has streaks of fantastic. He'll make incredibly difficult catches. He'll get open in space when you don't think he will, and then he'll drop an easy one, and you're like, oh, okay. Like what's with this inconsistency? And sometimes I think that's a lot of the players on this Giants team, where they just they haven't put it together where they're consistently excellent. And I get it, things, sometimes your body lets you down. You drop a pass that hits you right in the chest. But the inconsistency sometimes from these players can be frustrating as a fan. And the Scatterbo injury, the one thing with him is you think this guy's indestructible. He's out there dishing out CTE to every player that he comes across. And you're like, this guy, no way he's going to get injured his freshman campaign, and then he goes out and has the most catastrophic injury that you can. That's all that could probably keep him from staying on the field, because a concussion's not stopping Cam Scatterbo. But apparently an ankle injury is. So yeah, the good thing is, he wasn't even supposed to be the number one back at the start of the season. Tyrone Tracy rushed for, I think, over 1,000 yards last year on a terrible Giants team. So he's actually the better back. It's just, as far as a polished product, but Scatterbo was the only reason really to get out of bed on Sunday mornings now. So it's sad to see him get hurt like that.
No, it's understandable. Patrick, did you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, the Giants came into the season very confused with what they were doing at the quarterback room, bringing in Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, letting Daniel Jones go to the Colts to be wildly more successful than I think anyone expected, with the exception of the most recent game, which we'll talk about later on. So what was your thoughts on what they did there and what they were trying to do? And how surprised have you been by Daniel Jones' success elsewhere?
Yeah, it was confusing bringing both Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson in. I think, I don't understand the point of bringing in Wilson, especially since he was not good, and he was decent, I guess, against the Cowboys, but the Cowboys have made everyone look like all pros. They made Jacoby Brissett look like first team All NFL against them. Yeah, it's just this is the kind of things that are confusing about this Giants team when you look at all of their moves. Like, why wouldn't you? Yeah, Jackson Dart was a late first round pick, but he's clearly capable of starting and leading this team. And whoever didn't see that, who couldn't evaluate that at the start of the year, you got to question their job. I also think about maybe they didn't want to bring Dart in until Andrew Thomas was healthy, the starting left guard, and the line had some level of cohesion. But it doesn't make sense to bring in Jameis and also and also Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Now, Daniel Jones's success has been largely in part to he's got Jonathan Taylor to take a lot of pressure off of him, a lot like Saquon did in 2022. And he's got a really good offensive line that was already there before him. You saw him act like a human being against the Steelers this weekend. He threw 3 picks, I believe. So he hasn't changed in terms of nobody who's uncomfortable in the pocket is other than a Patrick Mahomes or a Lamar Jackson. Even then, if you're getting hit in the mouth every time you drop back, you're not going to be looked at as a good quarterback. Jones has looked good because he's been upright for a lot of the season, and he's going to continue to be that way because the Colts are a good football team, and he's get credit to him. He's never had an offensive line like that in New York, not once. So now we see what he can do.
Yeah, it's almost similar to the Sam Darnold experience going to Minnesota. And now in Seattle, he's tearing it up there. Now, the rest of the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles are obviously they're going to try and win the division again. As for the Cowboys, I don't even know what they are anymore. No idea what the Cowboys are. And the Commanders just had the worst thing happen to them, because Jaden Daniels shouldn't have been in the game when you're losing by 31 points with 6 minutes to go or whatever it was, and they had that horrific dislocation to his elbow. What do you make of the other teams in the NFC East for this year?
I'm pretty disappointed, honestly, in the Commanders. I thought that they would have a continued good season. However, Jaden Daniels' health has been up and down. He's had to miss time, and Marcus Mariota is coming in. I think as an athlete, Jaden Daniels not going to take himself out of the game. If he's supposed to be in there, he's going to want reps. That's his job. No athlete is going to be like, hey, I think I shouldn't be in because I might get hurt. That would, that's some Ben Simmons type lack of love for your job. So I just think that was an oversight by the coaching staff, and it ended up costing them big time in terms of the incident. Now, a lot of times, guys are in there, starters remain in the game even down by 31 points, and it's incident free. No one gets hurt and no one makes a big stink about it. And when it does happen, it's a big deal. I'm also I'm shocked by how bad the Cowboys are in terms of they've lost to the Panthers, they've lost to the Cardinals, they've lost to teams that they had circled on their schedule as W's. They're losing those games, and their playoff chances are in jeopardy. And there's no excuse. They have Dak Prescott. He's not injured. He's got CeeDee Lamb back. He's got George Pickens, who's emerged and become a very viable target, but they're still losing games because Jerry Jones thought that it was a good idea to get rid of Micah Parsons. Now, they have 2 first-round picks. They could reload next year and be competitive again, but yeah, it's frustrating when no one's really competing with the Eagles because they're about to cakewalk all the way to the division and possibly even an appearance in the NFC Championship game again. There really doesn't seem to be much competition for them, especially when the Lions are banged up, and the NFC West really hasn't gotten it together either. But we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. But it's been disappointing for the NFC East, especially if you don't like the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, that's true. And as you mentioned, you've got the Rams in the West looking absolutely fantastic there. And the North is an enigma in the NFC. Because it looked like the Green Bay Packers are going to run away with it, and the Detroit Lions. And then with this week's results, you're like, I don't know who's good and I don't know who's not. Particularly, I think the biggest shock was the Packers losing to Carolina. My goodness, that was absolutely appalling result for them. But yeah, so it is all sort of up for grabs in the NFC. Patrick, do you want to talk about the trades?
Yeah, I mean, the mention of Jerry Jones got me thinking about, like, he was swinging his checkbook about yesterday and throwing his picks away on players like Williams and the other guy they brought in. What were your thoughts on that? Because it surprised me to see him making this sort of trade, having just lost to the Cardinals lowly 2-5 Cardinals as they were coming into that one. He's trading as if he thinks they're like a couple of bits away from a Super Bowl run. Well, clearly their results look a lot further away than that.
Yeah, he's been delusional for the last decade or so, and it's not changing. He thinks that the team is 1 or 2 moves away. When you look at that defense, they're 5 or 6 moves away. Um, Especially when you just trade Micah Parsons. Like, it just doesn't make much sense. I mean, credit to him. At least he's trying to make deals and make things happen. The Giants just sat there and did nothing on the trade deadline. Couldn't even get rid of Russell Wilson, Evan Neal, or who else? No one even wanted. They probably took calls on Thibodeau, but they wanted at least a first for him. They couldn't get rid of Jalen Hyatt or Darius Slayton. None of those people have any trade value. But the Cowboys, yes, they might be delusional, but at least they're doing something. At least they're trying. It's funny. It's obviously good for headlines. And then the Jets, trading off all those parts it's just a continued burning, just throwing more trash on the dumpster fire until it just burns hot and all the way out to the sun. It's amazing how bad the Jets are at everything.
That's a tough day for Jets fans.
Yeah. Yeah, just completely tough. And the NFL trade deadline usually isn't as exciting as hockey. Hockey has a really good trade deadline, and MLB does. But there were still some good trade, some activity yesterday, but not nothing too crazy. No blockbuster names. Quinnen Williams isn't insane of a get. It wasn't like a Trey Hendrickson or something. But things did get moved around for sure.
And being a Giants fan, who do you hate more? Other NFC East teams or the Jets?
Oh, I don't have any hate for the Jets at all. That's like hating someone that is like in a wheelchair. Like that, you don't hate. Like that's just I feel really sorry for the Jets fans, honestly. Now, if they were good and we were good, there would be a lot of smack talk between us, which, the last time that happened was maybe 2004, 2005, where the Jets were actually good and the Giants were good. But we haven't, when the butt fumble, 2011, 2010. There was a lot of smack talk, but no, the NFC East, other teams in the NFC East bother me more, especially the Eagles. The Washington tends to bother me the least, but Cowboys fans talk a lot of smack, and they're the loudest online. Eagles fans talk a lot of smack in your face, and they are they're also interesting as well.
I bet they are. Now, we don't want to take up too much of your time, as I say. So, do you have a random stat for us?
Yes, the random stat I have is the last time the Giants won a game on the road over a calendar year was October 6th, 2024, when they beat the Seattle Seahawks 29-20 in Lumen Field. And at that point, they were 2-3 last year, and they looked like they could, do something. And then they proceeded to lose the next 10 games. And so it's been an outrageous, I don't know how many straight road losses it's been, but it's been a full calendar year plus nearly a month that the New York Giants have won a game on the road, and that is pathetic.
That is tough. That's not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Not ideal. Now, just one last thing. I was watching your video, the Black Hole of Sports.
Yes.
Because I know you love your stadiums, as do I myself. And I was wondering, because for the past 2 years, I've been saying 17 weeks is a stupid number. You should have 20 weeks, 18 games, 2 bye weeks, and while they're at it, chuck in another 8 teams, so I've just got 40 teams, 5 in each division, And I thought I was onto something here until I watched your video and went, oh, maybe that's why there's not so many NFL franchises as there could be. Because, sorry for interrupting you. Carry on.
No, you're good. I just think I think about expansion, and right now we're at 32 teams. The one problem with expansion is not just the talent pool. I think there's plenty of talent to have 8 more teams out there. Like, we'll watch the talent. The thing is that you get with that is the refs are going to be worse.
They're already bad.
Yeah, they're already bad. You have 8 more officiating crews of guys that aren't even good enough for the NFL now. And so you're going to have more incompetence there, more replay officials that aren't good. Just overall, in terms of the product, it's going to get diminished. Now, all these franchises would make money and have value. You could put one in the NFL is cracked to Americans. We will, there's so many markets that if you dropped an NFL team in now, even numbers wise, they don't seem to make sense, but they could definitely support an NFL team. Like San Diego would love to have a team back.
Yeah.
Portland, Oregon would show out for a team if they had one. San Antonio, Texas, all these major metro areas would love to have a team. You can maybe even put one in London. It's only a 6-hour flight.
Well,
and
yeah. I mean, there's been talk. There is. Patrick's a Jaguars fan for his sins, and we've seen the Jaguars come over to London. We've seen multiple games over here now. And of course, there's going to be a game in Madrid. There's going to be a game in Germany. And we look at these games, and the attendances are packed out. I mean, Wembley Stadium, where it's one of the 2 stadiums in London that have it, I think they get about 90,000 in there for an NFL game.
And they're packed. And it's not, they sell out in minutes. It's not like there's a desperation. It's not like when, say, a Premier League team comes to America. They usually do well, but like they're not selling out. Like even Man U is not probably in an exhibition game or even a regular season game at MetLife. They might get 90% capacity, but it's not insane like how the NFL will fill a stadium on foreign soil. Like they're just desperate for NFL football around the world.
Yeah.
Like look at Germany, Allianz Arena, they're selling out. They go to Spain, it sells out. They go to Brazil, it sells out. They know what they're doing, and it's not just the local fans, it's fans traveling. They're like, oh, okay. If I'm a well-to-do fan of a team, why not take a vacation and be like, I've always wanted to go to Brazil. I'll take in an NFL game, and then I'll go to the beaches and, have a good time. So, I think the thing with America, they want to, with the league, is they want to grow it really slowly. I think eventually the goal is 40 NFL franchises, 4 divisions, or how many, 8 divisions of 5 teams would be an ideal number. And I'm always impressed by how the Premier League does things, how you can have these teams in essentially neighborhoods, and they support and that's their highest level of football in the country, and it's in a neighborhood, and the whole neighborhood just shows up, 20,000-30,000 people, and that's the way it would be for an NFL team. It's just they want the teams to be multi-billion-dollar entities. They don't want, these small-time clubs in America. They want to grow it at that pace. But I totally agree that the season should be 20 weeks long, 18 games, 2 byes, and they're getting there. They just need the players to agree to that long of a season, for sure.
That's exactly what they need. That's exactly what they need. Now, in fact, you're talking about like teams that are close together. In Dundee, here in Scotland, we've got a team, Dundee and Dundee United. And their grounds are a stone throw away from each other. Dundee's not a big city. And there's a huge rivalry there. And of course, as you say, in Manchester City, Manchester United, and London's got, I don't know, how many teams, Patrick? How many does London got? 6?
Many. Depends how far down the pyramid you go, but there's at least like 6 of the top 2 levels.
In the top divisions, yeah.
What's the comp city for Manchester? Like, I get Manchester is pretty far away from London, right? Geographically, is it? What is the American equivalent of Manchester? I've always wanted, like, culturally, sort of. Is there like a because London to me is like the New York of the UK, right? And we're the big city. What is Manchester's American comp?
What do you think, Patrick?
Well, that's a good question.
It is.
You want a place that kind of fancies itself as quite smart, but it's really rough around the edges if you get too far off the main stripe. So
somewhere like Los Angeles, minus the weather.
Okay. So it's LA with bad weather.
LA with bad weather. Because you've got teams there who think they're the greatest as well and are very well supported. And
a lot of fans that just vacation in for games, a lot of tourist fans. So that does work with LA.
Okay,
so I think, probably LA.
And are they not as hardcore fans too in Manchester? Like, because LA, like, they're a little more casual. They're like, I want to be seen at the game, not see a game.
Maybe back in the day they were a little more hardcore, but you get a lot of fair weather fans in football, and when teams, or soccer I should say, and when teams aren't doing well, you can see it in the stands.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the amazing thing about NFL. It's like a team could be not doing well, and it's still sold out. They've sold every ticket, even for a 10 loss team. Sometimes not as many fans show up. They're like, just maybe work around the yard on this Sunday. But they're selling every ticket every Sunday. They're powerhouses.
Yeah,
for sure, economically.
Well, do you have an opinion on the proposed Buffalo Stadium? Because apparently the price hike for tickets is going to be absolutely astronomical.
Yeah, why does anyone do anything? Because they can, and they will clearly get away with this. There's plenty of money coming in. They're going to sell all those tickets. Unfortunately, Buffalo is a blue collar town, but they're gonna get away with it. That's just how it is. It's corporations in the area, they'll just buy those PSLs and those seat licenses and suites, and it's just the further gentrification of football that you see, and it's going to be harder for Bills fans to enjoy the product in person, but they do it because they can, and it's kind of sad.
It is, but as you say, probably not entirely unexpected. Well, listen, Adam, thanks again for joining us. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to check out 5Points Vids on YouTube. Some wonderful content on there, particularly if you're a fan of stadiums. So we all love stadiums. So once again, a huge thank you to yourself, Adam, for joining us.
Hey, my pleasure. And go Giants. To the off season. Here we go. Another top pick. All right.
Cheers.